What's up guys, and welcome back for another video. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Ashley, and today we'll be doing this super cute side part bang lace wig install courtesy of a company by the name of Eva Wigs. Now this is what the wig looks like when I first put her on straight out of the packaging. Super gorgeous hair, a nice full long length. For specs, she's 22 inches in length, silky straight, medium brown cap, 13x6 lace closure, pre-plucked hairline lace wig. I did opt for a average size cap, and this is exactly what I got. So step one for me is going to be to remove a little bit of that excess lace that goes below my eyebrows. You don't want to mess up your eyebrows if you already did them. So that's why I cut that off, and also to make sure I can see. Next, I'm going to frame the wig to fit perfectly around my ears. Now, this is a key important step. You want it to fit flat and flush from ear to ear, in the back and the front, in every way possible. And this is one step that helps it to fit exactly how it's supposed to fit for your head. Next, I'm going to remove the wig and I'm going to add my lace tint. Now, I like to do this just to make sure that the wig fits and matches my complexion perfectly, or as close as possible. And all I do is use a foundation that is my skin tone. I blow dry it in until it's pretty much dry, and this is only so that it doesn't move or transfer onto my skin or my wig cap. And then I put her back on and we are ready to install. Now, as I mentioned, this one is pre-plucked, so I opted not to go in and add any more customizations to the hairline. Feel free to pluck and tweeze yours if that fits your style or preference. I'm going to go ahead and bond her down. I'm going to work in sections starting with the center, and as you guys can see, I cut 2 slits, one on either side, and then I went ahead and added my adhesive. Now this one does come from the brand Got2b Glue, which we all know and love so much. I decided to use this one in a nice thick coat. This is a liquid product, which you really want to saturate the lace because you want to get it really wet, and that's how you're going to get it to dry and bond down really good. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm being sure to work it in. I don't want it to ruin my actual hair, and sometimes when you spray too much in the front, it'll like make the hairs stick together. So make sure you're kind of like combing that out so that it doesn't have that issue. You can also cut off all the lace beforehand and then bond it down, which you guys know, if you're no stranger to my channel, that's typically what I do. Once it's completely dry, I like to go in with a pair of scissors or a razor and just go ahead and remove all the excess lace. Now, the one thing I don't like about doing my installs this way is I find that I have to clean up my work to make it perfect. And of course, it did come out perfect, but again, I just feel like I have to clean it up a little bit more. Then when I cut off the excess lace before bonding it down, be sure it's completely dry and you use a cool setting, and this is a key step. If it's a little bit damp, the wig is still going to slide and move and it's not yet bonded down. Now I'm going to do the sides off camera, and this pretty much was the result. The wig is completely installed and now we are ready to style her. I opted for a side part. You're going to see here, I'm going to go ahead and work on the parting and all of that, but I am going to fix it at the very end. Even though it is a deep side part, typically I would prefer something a little bit more deep, but anything below this would actually show tracks. So this was good enough for me, but I am going to go in a little bit later and curve it out a little bit just to make it look a little bit more, I won't say better, but just more to my liking. And I am going to use the electric hot comb as well as my wax sticks to go ahead and make the swoop part super duper flawless. And it's super simple. You just kind of like part out the hair a little bit further down, add a little bit of the wax and work that in. Use the electric hot comb to pretty much again work that in and make it as flat and pressed out as possible. This is what's just going to give you a super nice sleek swoop. I feel like when you try to just go ahead and flat iron it from the top, you'll still have lumps and it'll still be a little bit on the thick side. Sectioning it out and working your way up to the top of the part definitely gives you a more flat install. Many people do use different products. For example, you can use a hairspray, a holding spray. You can even use mousse. I didn't want to use the mousse just because I kind of feel like it was going to make it a little bit more hard and crunchy. Hairspray, typically whenever you apply the hairspray and then you use a hot tool, so will leave a little bit of a residue, and that's why I opted for the wax. I do also feel like the downside to the wax is that the wig will end up a little bit more on the greasy side, so just be aware of that and don't use as much as I did if you do not want it to be on the greasy side. As promised, I'm going to go in and update the parting. There was nothing wrong with it before. It was nice and straight, but I just find that with side parts and side bangs, a curved parting is just a little bit more complimentary on me. So I'm just going in and making sure that looks as good as possible. And again, if you can, go a little bit deeper with the parting, and that will give more of a dramatic effect. But working with this 13x6 closure wig, it definitely could not go any deeper than this. And again, it still looks good. No one can tell that I want it to go deeper. It looks amazing. Just as preference, I would prefer it to be a little bit more deeper. Now let's work on the baby hair. If you're someone who does not like baby hair or just don't want it for this style, you can definitely opt out. I would say even if you didn't do baby hair, the sideburns are definitely a great option. And I'm going in with a Got2b glue gel. This is just going to make sure that the wig will stay down even longer, because you guys know Got2b glue gel works as an actual adhesive, and it's also going to lay down the baby hairs very nicely. Also, what I'll say is I would prefer to use a mousse in this step, but at this point, this was my second time bonding this side of the wig down, and for fear of having to bond it down for a third time if it lifted, I didn't want to use anything that was liquid. Even though the mousse would be a alcohol base, I just wanted to be sure that it stayed down and didn't lift or slide or move for any reason. And again, I'm always going in and, you know, cutting off pieces that don't belong and just doing whatever I can to make sure that the wig fits amazing and looks even better. Now we're almost done. I'm going to go in and just straighten out the ends. This is silky straight Brazilian virgin hair, but it definitely looks so much better if you go in and just run your flat iron over it a little bit. Even when your hair is straight, it just makes a huge difference whenever you add a little bit of heat. Now the baby hair was perfect, but honestly I wasn't feeling it in its clip, so I did go in and just pull out a couple more strings. I trimmed them down a little bit shorter, and then I went ahead and swooped it. Again, my second day baby hair in this case was a little bit better than my first day baby hair. The only thing I will say is that when you use a gel, once it dries and sets, it's a little bit harder to move it. As you guys can see, I was trying to brush it back here and it kind of was already molded in a way. Whereas whenever I use my mousse, I can always move the baby hair how I want and it never sticks down. So that's just the pros and cons when it comes to working with different products. I wanted to use the mousse to make sure that I could move the baby hair, but I wanted to use the gel to make sure that the lace didn't lift. So to each his own, just understand how each product works as you go ahead and install your wigs. From here, I went ahead and added my Fenty concealer to the parting, a little bit of my Ruby Kisses powder along the hairline, and then a little bit of holding spray just to hold the bang in place. I find that this helps to make sure that it doesn't move at all. I just don't like to use heat on top. Now we're done with our install. In just a moment, I'll go in and show you in detail all of the hair deets and all of that. But I did want to show you also what came in the package. They did include the wig caps, the elastic band. They gave me a comb with their logo in bows, and then some hair clips as well. And I did use one of the bobby pins to go ahead and, you know, hold my bang in place. You don't have to do this. It pretty much will stay, but this can be like a fashion statement or again to hold it in place, especially when you're out and it's windy. So as you guys seen, this one did come from Eva's Wig. I decided to go with a just simple flat side part side swoop. And the reason I did this is because I've been doing center parts for a while now, and I just was like, why not do something different? I also wanted to do straight because I have been doing curls lately, but sometimes you just want a little bone straight, you know what I mean? And I love the fact that this one absolutely does lay flat. You guys seen I did add the powder to the parting as well as the concealer the concealer to the parting and the powder to the hairline, and that came out good. Now as far as the actual swoop, I did do a lot of the wax stick. Now typically I would do wax or I would do hairspray in order to help me like lay it and make it get flat. You can also do mousse, but I just didn't want to go like wet, if that makes any sense, and have the crunch, and I love the way it comes out. Now you can do a swoop with no product. It just is going to take a little bit longer to get it like super flat and sleek with no frizz and all of that. Also, I did opt to do my baby hair with the Got To Be Glued, just because I kind of felt like if I would have done the mousse, it would have lifted. It already lifted once and I didn't want to do that a second time, so I figured I wanted to do a gel instead of something that was like a liquid. Now I can just go ahead and bring the swoop forward and have the Aaliyah vibe going on, even if I added some bangs, and I think that will look beautiful as well. But again, I just wanted to switch it up and I love the way it came out. Now of course it's going to be perfect to add like headbands, bandeaux, scarves, and all of that to it. This is the perfect canvas for that. Also, if I want to do a braid or a low pony, you know, this is the perfect look for all of that. So this is a company I can 100% vouch for and say that they have beautiful hair if you are in the market for a new company to shop with, to buy your hair from. Again, link is in the description box. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with your friends, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Smooches!